So now, just going back to the beginning. So where did you grow up?
In Hornchurch.
Hornchurch,
Yeah. So I was originally born in Newham and
Oh, was you?
and lived in East Ham for a couple of years. I think till I was about 3.
Yeah,
And then my family moved to Hornchurch.
yeah.
Yeah.
How was it growing up in Hornchurch?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I was a little bit of a wild teenager, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But who weren't really? But yeah, no, I've been in Hornchurch since I was 3, and I'm still there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I love living in Hornchurch.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, yeah.
Yeah, I've got some family living. I was actually there last weekend.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
If you ever travel through Hornchurch, you'll probably see me, or I'm in the Starbucks, or I'm walking my dog through the town centre, or with me hundreds of kids all the time. So
I actually mentioned you a couple of weeks ago. One of my other cousins, I've got a massive family, and he was considering. I'm not sure if he took like a free trial class, but he was considering joining Falcon.
oh, okay,
Yeah, and I was like,
yeah.
oh, no, sign up. Like, I met the guys there. Like, it's a
Yeah.
great team. So you briefly mentioned earlier, like when you was younger, that you got into a little scrap, and that's how when boxing was going to be considered. Was that how you decided to get into the combat sports when you was younger, like being a bit scrappy at school and like growing up?
Yeah, I can't really put a pin on it really. I wasn't like a troublemaker at
Yeah.
school. I never like started on people or anything like that. It was more if anyone ever approached me. I think I carried a little bit of, as a teenager, I carried a little bit of anger and resentment, and always thought that I was older than what I was and I could do what I wanted. I don't know whether a lot of that's down to, obviously I lost my mum at a young age.
Right.
My mum died when I was 6, so growing up maybe it started to impact me a bit more in my teenage years. And yeah, I just got into, do you know what, it was so silly. I just got into an argument with a girl, but it was actually quite a bad situation. This girl's mum had hit one of my friends after school.
Yeah.
And then the next day, this girl's mum had waited for my friend as well to come home from school on her own, waited on the end of her road and had hit her. And this was one of my best friends. And then the next day when we were on a bus, this is how bad it is, we were on a bus and she was on the bus and we got into an altercation and we got into a fight. And yeah, it went from there. And then I had to obviously come home and yeah, my dad just said like, maybe you need to channel this energy or anger or whatever it is into something. But I think I sort of died it down with just doing sports and stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Because then I didn't go into boxing at that age. I went into kickboxing when I'd had my first daughter. So so not till I was about 20, 21.
21.
Yeah.
Just before we get into that, so what other sports was you involved with? You said you.
Oh, so like just in school, I'd always be doing the clubs in school, like netball. We used to do tennis, and then I used to do a lot of dancing as well outside of school.
Yeah.
I used to go to a proper stage school for years, and then I actually done Hammerettes for a couple of years for the West Ham.
Yeah.
And then just went from there. I think when I had my daughter, I then stopped doing stuff like that. Yeah.
So when you had your first daughter,
Yeah.
so did you get into kickboxing to compete, or was it something just to get fit and?
So at first it was to just get fit, and then I think I sort of got the buzz for it, and just started going a lot more. And then obviously I think Matt and Paul maybe see that I had a little something in me, and it just went from there. As I say, that they had just approached me and they was like, we've had a phone call and the girls' fighter had pulled out, and they was like, we think you'd be ready for it. Do you want to go and do it? And I was like, yeah, why not? Why not?
And you've got three children now.
So I've got a little bit of a complicated situation. So I've got a daughter of my own.
Sure.
And then my niece and my nephew live with me full time.
Yeah.
So I've basically got 3 children. Yeah.
Okay,
that's how I class it. But yeah, a little bit complicated.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain it to people because
sure.
obviously where I've been on the fight scene for like over 10 years now, people are like, I didn't see that you had a breakout to have another child.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't.
Oh,
Because the youngest, he's 7.
Yeah.
So people obviously are like, oh, I didn't see the gap of where you had a time out and had another child and then back on it. So that's why it's a little bit complicated.
No worries. So, I mean, so that's still relevant for like my next question, because I was interested in knowing that. So how does it must be difficult, like you're juggling like motherhood and caring with competing, training, working. How do you deal with that?
Oh, I don't know. I get asked that all the time. They're like, how do you do it?
Yeah.
And I actually don't really know how I do it. You've just got to be organised. A routine with your training as well really helps. So I know what time I'm training every day, what I need to be doing in the evening. Fitting around, obviously, stuff comes up with the children, or you need to go to their schools, or they've got appointments. So you just work around it, really. It is a lot of pressure, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I do sit back and I think, oh my God, what am I doing? When I first took the children on 6 years ago, I said I didn't know whether I was ever going to come back, because I had a couple of months out, and after I think I fought for a title actually in Cardiff. And then I literally took the children on like the next week after that. So I was like, right, that might be my last fight. And a few months went past and I was just like, no, I can't give this up just yet. I think I was only like 26 at the time as well. Yeah. And I've got a good support network around me. I've got a good family. And with the kids being in school and stuff like that, when I train down at Al Wilkie's, it's training in the day. So it works perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.